Hi, crafty friends, and happy Friday afternoon. It's been a great week here. I hope you've had a great week. I've been doing lots of little things in my craft room and wanted to share with you two different things this afternoon. So, one, I'm still continuing going through kits that I've made and putting them all away where they need to go, putting the cards in my box of cards, so I'll know where to find those. And then the leftovers from the kits I've been storing in some different boxes of that the kits originally came in. So I'm grouping together the inks, I'm grouping together the stamps, the leftover ephemera, and I'll show you a little bit of that. So first, let's take a look at one of the kits. I made this quite a while ago, and I haven't used anything from it yet, and it's still available, so I thought I'd show you this. This is the Brightest birthday kit. So let me switch over to the desk view here. All right. So like all of the kits, it comes with instructions sheet. And this kit was a little different. Instead of cards, it makes four bags, like birthday gift bags, and four gift card holders. So I want to show you what those look like because they're a little bit different. So as I said, I am kind of sorting and cleaning these boxes out. And what I did after the last video I made, I think, I used some of the leftover embellishments, these white strips that on the other side contain sentiments in other languages. So I'm using the blank slide of that, and I just made some little labels with my label maker. So this one will hold embellishments, just as an example. This one holds instructions. I have one that holds cardboard, and as I said, I have another one for stamps and one for inks. But I do have one for instructions, so I'm saving these. Don't need to save them, but this will allow me to kind of go back and get ideas or look at what these kits contained if I have questions or people have questions later on. So that goes in that box. I have a box for embellishments, and this kit had a lot of embellishments left over. So like most of the kits, it has sentiments in lots of different languages that I didn't use. But I certainly could, potentially use these with someone who speaks those languages. But I also save them because you can flip over a lot of these and they have nice shapes that you can then stamp on and use in a different way. Same with these little tags. I had 2 gold stars left. So I'm going to put all of this into the box that I've designated for leftover embellishments. Let's see what else is in there. You can see there's lots of things from other cards. So far, I'm getting quite a collection here. A little bit of string, a little bit of sequins, lots of different shapes and words. So hopefully I'll turn those into cards at some point. And then similar to all the kits, it has this really nice sturdy piece of cardboard that I am saving, even though I don't exactly know why I'm saving it. So put that in my cardboard box. Which is now almost full, and this one has another cute little label on it. And so those are ready to go back up on my shelf. I have a nice empty box, and I'm getting ready to use these for upcoming surprise. So let me show you what this kit made. This, as I said, is still available. It's $23 for this kit, and it has 4 really cute gift card holders. So this little ribbon has a slit in it, and it kind of comes off. So it's like a band that holds the card shut. There's a little tag on it, tied with a little piece of string. You could write on the back of this if you want. And then when you open this, there's a sticker in each one. I think they're each a little different. And then there's a spot down here you can tuck in a gift card or a note or something else, and then you close it back up. And because there's no tape or anything to hold this closed, you can just reclose it like that. So there's two of these blue ones. There's two similar ones that are yellow with orange, very festive. And then it comes with 4 gift bags, so two different designs. One here is blue with stars, and some of the stars are shiny foil. Has a cute little tag. This one has an ice cream cone and birthday wishes, again tied with a cute little ribbon. You can write on the back of this one or this one if you wanted to. It's a good size bag. I think you could fit a lot of different things in there. So 2 of the blue ones, they come with those nice ribbon handles. And you could use the tissue that comes in a lot of the paper pumpkins, repurpose those to fill up the bags. And then there's 2 of these light green ones, probably called Lost Lagoon color. These have candles along the bottom, in the front and the back. The flames on the candles are shiny foil. I have a little star hanging off this tag and birthday wishes. So I think this is a really cute kit. It's going to take me a while to give away 4 gift bags and 4 gift card holders, but this was fun to make and a good to have on hand, certainly the kind of thing you'll definitely use. The kit's been available for quite some time, but as I said, I just got around to putting it away. Okay, now we're going to make a card together. And I wanted to show you one of the favorite paper sets that I got recently. It's called Perfectly Pears. Let me reframe that. It's called Painterly Pears is the name of the paper pack. And it comes with a stamp set called Perfectly Pears and dies. And I think this is so beautiful and it's very versatile. So I'm going to show you 2 different cards from it. But the papers are so rich. This looks like wallpaper you could have in your dining room. The background might look black on the screen, but it's actually a color called Secret Sea, which is a really dark navy blue. The back of this is a nice yellow grid. Then there's another beautiful, I do think these look a little bit like wallpapers. Green pears, a yellowish background, and some pretty pink flowers. And the back of this paper has beautiful little, this looks like spring, white background with little yellow flowers on it. This one is probably one of my favorites. I really like the colors on the pears here. And I've kind of mimicked that on one of the cards that we're going to be making. I haven't used this one yet. The back of that is a green design. And then another piece that comes in it, there's a piece that has a pink background that I've used already to make cards with, and I'm going to show you that card. And then, like many of the paper packs from Stampin' Up, this paper pack and the matching dies, the die set that goes with the stamps, some of these images can be cut out. So there's a die that cuts out the pear. There's a die that cuts out the leaves. Another die cuts out these 2 little pears. And one cuts out these pink flowers. And so I made one card using, kind of taking advantage of those cutouts. This card has no stamping on it. I use a petal pink cardstock. It's on an ivory colored or natural colored base. And then the pattern paper is this pink background one with the pears and the yellow flowers. This pear, these leaves, this flower, and this pear was all cut out of the paper using the die cuts. And you can always fussy cut any of the images out of the paper and then use them as embellishments. On this one, this black background on the sentiment is actually the reverse side of this pink paper. So I used some of the leftovers after I cut the pink paper and flipped it over and used that to frame my sentiment. The sentiment is from an ephemera pack that is all words, all sentiments that have like it's all black and white, and there's everything from Merry Christmas, Happy Mother's Day, sympathy, birthdays. It's a very versatile one to have. And then I put two little flat gems on it that are the same color pink as the background. And this was very quick and easy sympathy card to put together, and one again that doesn't require any stamping. So this is a great card in like a kit to go thing. You can make this without any real supplies, just adhesives. The one I'm going to really show you today though is one that I am doing stamping on. And this set with the pears is so versatile. The pears can be so many different colors, and I've seen lots of people experimenting with that, and I'm gonna experiment with one combination here today. So let's get started. I'll show you kind of the products as we're going along. I'm starting just with a white card base for this one. So to make a card base, I start with an 8.5 by 11. I score it on the long way at 4.25 inches. That's like the halfway point for this paper. Then turn it the opposite direction, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5. This is thick cardstock I'm working with here. And now we'll have two card bases actually from that. But I want to show you how just quick and easy it is to make your own card bases. Okay, so we're just going to use one. I'm going to be layering on this one. I'm going to make this one a horizontal card. I'm going to layer onto this a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. So the card base is 5.5 by 4.25, and my typical approach is to just go down 1/4 inch on each measurement to make a nice mat. That'll be 1/8 of an inch then showing around it. So that means this one will be 5.25. If the base is 5.5, the cardstock is 5.25 by 4. And then that gives you a nice even white frame around it. I love layering a couple of layers to get some depth to the look. Then I'm going to use another sheet that comes from the Perfect Pears, or the Painterly Pears. And this sheet, I will never be able to put it back together, but it's basically cut from one sheet of paper, I would mess this up, that has a lot of white space in the center of it. Maybe it goes like this. It's not really important that I could ever reconstruct this, but just to give you an idea, the paper had a lot of white space in the center, so I cut my sheets around the edges. So each sheet is a little bit different in terms of where the white space is, but a good way to make use of this kind of paper. I will use, let's see, I'll use this piece here. So this again is cut 1/4 inch less on each side, making it, let's see, so 5.5, 5.25. This is 5 wide and 3.75 inches deep, high, if you will. So I'm just going to glue this one down. I think this could go in kind of any direction. And then we're going to do some of our stamping. So one of the sentiments that comes in this stamp set I really love: a good friend is a gift. And that's so true. Like, my friends are the best and really one of the most precious things to me. So good friends are a gift. I've cut a white background using this die. That comes from a die set called Deckled Rectangles. I don't know if it's available anymore or not, but you could just use a plain rectangle, of course, for this. I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow ink. And just stamp that down. Then, let's see, I should probably keep this ink out. The next thing I'm going to do is make the outline of these small pears, which I have here, and I use the Mossy Meadow ink for that. This stamp set has stamps that stamp the outline and then a separate stamp that stamps the color in the middle. And I'll show you how fun that can be, because you can do some different things with it that way. I'm going to actually, on the pear and the stem and the leaves, I'm going to not even stamp the outline. I'm only going to stamp the color. All right, now on this one, why don't we stay with the small pears? So one of the stamps will shade in the pears on this outline we've just stamped. And I'm going to use some little daubers and 2 colors of ink to give this a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to start with a yellow, and this is just like a little sponge. You can use any kind of sponge. And I'm going to, actually I think I'm just going to ink it with the yellow by putting it in there. Or I could dot it if I wanted to get it really exact. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of the Mossy Meadow, the green color, on another dauber, and I am kind of just going in, putting a little bit of ink on top of that yellow, a little bit of green, that'll give it some shading when I stamp it. So this is one way you can kind of mix colors and get some dimension. And then you just line it up and stamp it onto your paper. And you can see like lots of different shades now in there, with a little bit of yellow showing, some light greens, some darker greens around the edges. So we'll set that aside. And then let's go to the large pear and the stem for that. So for this piece, that's the stem and the leaves. I'm only using the stamp here that's really the inside, kind of the shading colors on this. I'm not going to even do the outline on these two. I think it gives it a nice subtle look. I think you can also experiment with like first generation, second generation stamping. I feel like when I did it before, I might have stamped off first, so I had a lighter shade. That's a second generation stamping with the same color. Either one works great. You choose which you want. And then for the pear, this time I'm going to not use green. I'm going to use actually pink and yellow to get this more rustic kind of look. And I was inspired for that by the paper that has the yellow and orange pears on it. So for this one, I'm going to use the large pear stamp. Again, I'm just using the inside. I'm looking for my yellow that I almost put my arm in. I'm going to, again, ink up the whole stamp with yellow. And then I'm going to use Strawberry Slush, which is a really pretty pink color, to add some shading onto the stamp before I stamp it. And this is probably a little hard to see in the video, but I'm just going like from the outside into the stamp a little bit around the edge. That should give me a little bit of a darker line. And then I'm going to just kind of rub some more of the pink in toward the center in a couple of spots. There's absolutely no right or wrong on this one, but I think the result is really pretty. And we didn't think of using pink on a stamp, but I feel like it really works well. Okay, that did not come out dark enough. I'm going to re-stamp it because I think I wiggled it and didn't get one side down good. Okay. There we go. I think we have all the ink off now. So that one came out a little lighter than this one, but you can see I did 3 of them so far with this color combo, and each one came out a little bit different with some more or less white space, some darker or lighter areas. And you can experiment with whatever color combinations you want for these pears. I think I like this one the best, and I'll use that on the card. Okay, now we have one thing I'm going to color in on the little pear stamp set. It doesn't have a stamp to shade in the leaves, so I'm just going to use a little watercolor pencil. This one's color name is Old Olive, and add some color to the leaves. You could get fancy here. You could do a couple of different tones. These watercolor pencils you can go over with a blender brush after you put the pencil down. It'll give it a little bit of a watercolor look. But I'm just going to color it in so we don't have kind of white leaves in the middle of everything. I really love these pears. I just think they're beautiful. They're classic, they're fall, they're tasty. I love the taste of pears. How about you guys? Do you like pears? Okay, so now we've got some great colors action going on here. And one other thing I pulled out that I didn't talk about is I'm using a little bit of glimmer paper here. The one of the colors in this paper pack is petal pink, and I happen to have a piece of glimmer paper that was that color. And I think this is a good way just to add a little bit of sparkle. So I cut it just a little bit bigger than the rectangle that my sentiment is on. I think this turns out to be, let's see, 2.5 inches long and 1 1/8 high to fit that. So let's glue these 2 pieces together. And these glitter papers are a great way to just put a little bit of sparkle onto your card. I don't know how that sparkle comes through, but I think it's pretty. So that's going to be our sentiment. We're going to have the large pear. I think I might go with the darker stem. And I'm just going to arrange this to see how it looks best given the background that I have, because each time I make this particular card now, the background is going to look a little different. I think maybe it's like that is about what I'm going to want. Yeah, let's go with that. So I'm ending up, you don't have to do it this way, but I'm ending up putting the sentiment essentially in the center of the card. Maybe I'll just go a little bit north of center there. And then I'm going to use some dimensional tape on my pears so they'll pop up a little. It's always the hardest part of these tapes is getting the little covers off so they'll be sticky. All right, so there's my pretty pear, my painterly pear, or my perfect pear. I'm going to kind of cover the one edge there. For the stem, I'm actually gluing this to the bottom to the underside of the pear, which I should have done before I stuck it down, but you live and learn. And I want it to stay kind of in the confines of the card. And I'm going to put a little piece of glue, a little squirt of glue to hold that down right where I want it. I wasn't going to do that, but I think it might be a little too fragile to leave kind of blowing in the wind. And then this one I'll put down there. Again, I'll use some dimensional tape on this. And then I have one more surprise to kick it up a notch. I love to use dimensional tape. How about you? Do you, are you a gluer, a taper, a popper-upper, seal? Some people like glue dots. I'm struggling with these. All right, so I think I'm going to put her right there. And now you could put gems on this paper, but what I did is I used some of that petal pink glimmer paper and cut out, using a die cut that comes in this, cut out these cute little flowers that I think will be great accents to use in place of gems. So I think maybe I'll put 3 down there and maybe those 2 there. And again, you'll probably want to position this based on what makes sense for the base paper that you have. So my paper has a lot of white space on this side. And I'm just using a little tiny touch of glue, trying to stay out of the center of the flower. But these are actually gorgeous. It was a last minute idea I had because I had a long strip of the glimmer paper when I was done cutting the little rectangles I needed. And I like to use everything that's possible, especially for something like specialty paper. I didn't want to throw it in the garbage. And there's a nice little die that cuts a strip of 5 of these flowers at once. So I was like, oh, that I can make little embellishments out of that. All right, so there is our card for today. Hopefully you enjoyed getting a deeper look at this suite. I think it's called Painterly Pears. So there's the different kinds of paper, the Perfectly Pears stamp set, coordinating dies that go with it. There's also some ribbon that's really pretty. I'm not using it on this card. It's green and it's shimmery as well. I think that is a great little card to send to one of my good friends who is a gift to me. All right. Well, thanks for joining me on this Friday afternoon. I know a lot of people do fun folds on Fridays, but I didn't have a fun fold card kind of ready to go. So I thought I'd do the perfect pears on Friday. Let me know if you need help with recreating any of this, or if you're looking for any of these supplies. You can find mostly everything on my website at blueberrycanary.stampinup.net. And we probably will be making a card like this at one of the upcoming card buffets. So if you'd like to join for that, send me an email, tina@blueberrycanary.com. Do me a favor, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow, trying to get my first 100 subscribers. So I'd love it if you would like and subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comments if there's other things you'd like to see made, other products you want to see what they look like, or get some inspiration for. I hope you have a great and crafty weekend, and thanks for joining me.